deadly. Thank you very much for coming. I'm going to give you straight to Lydia's sauce, and yeah, enjoy. Deadly. Okay.
Thank you.
Good one. Cheers.
Thank you. Okay, so welcome everybody. Kind of said hello anyway. I'm Lydia. So what I wanted to do to start with was just to give you a brief little history of how was face yoga developed, how did it come about, and then a little bit of how did I learn about face yoga and why do I use it and how do I use it with our clients. So it was developed as part of the Sukshma vyayama yoga tradition in around the 1960s by a guy called Swami Dhirendra Brahmacharya, who was the personal yoga guru to Indira Gandhi. And it's actually, the Sukshma yoga tradition is actually known as the yoga of micro movements. So it's not just about the face, but it's also about the body. And it would be tiny little movements working into each joint, tiny little movements building awareness of the muscles. So rather than those larger asana that we tend to see in yoga classes, this is about tiny little movements. So it's accessible for everyone. And you're getting to just have a little bit of awareness on how do I hold tension in my body, and where is my tension in my unique body, right? Because we all hold it in different places. So some of us, it come up in our shoulders, some of us it comes into our neck, tension, headaches, clenching jaw, that kind of stuff. And as we take it back to these much smaller movements, these tiny little movements, we begin to build that awareness there on how can I just bring movement into that area, as opposed to letting it come into this area while I'm working this area. So Sukshma Yoga came about in that micro movement awareness, and as it works in the body, it also works in the face. So it's about using the body as one unit and not thinking about face as this separate thing where we do cleansing and toning and moisturizing, and then our body is this thing where we do exercising. We're trying to bring that as one whole unit. In yoga we have this term ojas. Ojas is like juices, right? And the juice is how they translate in the body. It means like the oil that helps to make our joints keep moving. It would be the stuff that makes our hair all lustrous. The oils in our skin that keeps our skin looking vital and plump. The mucous membranes that would be in our digestive tract, that would be in our nasal passageways, that would be in our reproductive tissues, to keep everything moving, to keep everything smooth and flowing, so there doesn't begin to build up tension or stagnation in those areas. So the more we do movement, the more we build that awareness, the more we rid tension, the less we have stagnation in the body. And stagnation is like the enemy of ojas. So the more stagnation we have, the less ojas we have in our body. And in order to get that vitality back in all the systems of our body, not just our skin and our face, we want more ojas. So when we do these micro movements, it's just about building pathways in the body to help everything move, to help build that circulation. So there aren't areas where there are blockages. So then if we take this into a different area, when I was a little girl, I met this really fascinating reflexologist called Joseph Corvo, who coined the term zone therapy, and it was a whole new therapy that he made up. He's kind of a famous reflexologist that worked in London with a lot of big profile names, but he just happened to be a family friend. And so when I was a little girl, I had various different ailment things, and I went to see him, and as part of his treatment plan, he would do reflexology on the hands and the feet, but he also had these movements of the face that he would get us to do, and they would be facial movements, but they would also be acupressure type massages. And he had this theory, the zone therapy theory, that the whole body is this electromagnetic field, and it works on electromagnetic currents, and the body is divided into zones right down the center of the body, and then that radiates outwards, and each zone has 1, 2, 3. So the organs of the body, the glandular systems of the body, the nervous system of the body, all fall under these zones, and the zones travel through the body, but they also travel through the face. So as we take the face into different areas, and we work on little areas of the face, we help to build the pathways those electromagnetic currents travel down and keep them moving. So his theory was, as we take in toxins through the air that we breathe, through the food and drink that we imbibe, through the stuff we put on our faces, those toxins build up kind of little blockages, little crystalline deposits around nerve plexuses in the body, and that stops those pathways from working as well. It builds stagnation. So we come back to the same thing as the facial yoga thing. And with stagnation comes illness, comes fatigue. So as I learnt those poses, I've been doing them all my life since I was a little girl, just playing around with them. Then I started to learn yoga, and I started to get into it more deeply, and I came across Sukshma yoga. When I did my training in yoga for children with additional needs, when I did the eye exercises, I started to learn, are you hurting? Yeah. Come in and sit down. We're just doing a little history of it.
Yeah,
So take your time.
Great and mystic. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll grab one of these.
Thanks.
What's your name, sir?
Patricia O'Brien.
Oh, you're not done. Okay. I'll do after.
8:30 a.m.
Oh, well done. So, these crystalline deposits, they build stagnation in our body, and the electromagnetic currents can't travel properly through those nerve plexuses. And when we think of stagnation, we think of illness, we think of fatigue, just slowing down, just like in anything, in a car and anything. If there's a blockage, it doesn't work as well. So when I was little, I was doing these poses. Then I started training in yoga, and I learned the facial yoga poses. And I noticed that there was a huge crossover, that a large part of this zone therapy and the facial yoga was really exactly the same, that I already knew them. And then I did the eye exercises that I learned when I was training for kids with additional needs, and I found out about how that affects our brain and the neuroplasticity in the brain. And I thought, oh, hang on, this is actually really interesting, that you could combine all these three things into a little self-care routine that people could have to affect change. So it doesn't have to be that yoga is for the perfect body, for one type of body, for having this perfect space, for having a separate practice time. It's actually just part of looking after ourselves. So just as we would brush our teeth in the morning and we would moisturize our face, we would bring these face yoga poses and massage in, and they would actually affect change in our body, not just in how we hold tension, not just in how we look, but also actually in our organ systems, in our glandular systems, and balancing our hormones. So it's this lovely thing that you can take away, and for me, yoga has become something that can be really elitist, or that lots of people feel like yoga isn't for me, I can't do that. And this is a yoga that everyone can do. It doesn't matter what age you are, it doesn't matter what body type, or even what time you have. Because for me, when we're looking at doing these poses that we're going to learn in a minute, which we will get to, the fun stuff, I promise, they're not that you have to do them as part of your regular yoga practice. You can, of course, when I'm training with clients, I would do face yoga, pranayama, breath practice, and then asana, so I might organize it like that. But when I'm doing it myself at home, I do my face stuff, I wash my face, I cleanse my face. I do a few of them there, and then I go down, I put the kettle on. While I'm waiting for the kettle to boil, I do a few more, and then I'll do a few more in the car when I'm on my way in to teach. So it doesn't have to be one unit, and it's not about a big, long practice. It's about just fitting them in a little bit every day. And if you want to affect the most change, if you're doing it for those kind of external reasons where we want to like minimize lines and that kind of stuff, it's not about do a load of them. It's about do a little bit every day. And really 5 minutes a day would be a maximum amount, because just as we want to rid our bodies of that tension and where we hold our tension in our face, if we overwork those muscles, we might bring in more tension or different tension. So it's not a case of the more the better. It really is about sticking to those few minutes a day, and that's the maximum that you would do it. As far as benefits on an aesthetic level, which is also important, the skin on our face is different than the skin on our body in that it attaches directly to the muscles, so there's not a lot of fat in between. So when we know that we stop exercising our body, our muscles in our body waste. The same happens with the muscles in our face. We tend to overuse certain areas and underuse other areas. And also with food these days, we don't tend to chew as much because a lot of food is a little bit softer, a little bit more easy for us to process. So we don't have as developed action in our jaws for chewing. If anyone's ever tried to do that thing where you chew 50 times each mouthful, it's really tiring. You're like, oh my God, I actually can't chew 50 times. And it makes you realize how we don't have the masticating processes that we used to have. So these muscles in our face, they waste. And as they waste, they drag the skin down with it. So when we get the drooping of our skin, when we get sagging eyelids, or we get jowliness, that's actually being dragged down by the muscles. So if we then exercise those muscles, if they begin to get plumper and firmer, they plump up the skin, and then we get that kind of more roundy, more youthful glow. And similarly with wrinkles, it plumps up the skin underneath those wrinkles. So is it a magic button where your wrinkles are going to disappear? No. I can tell you 100% they're not going to go. They will be minimized if you work hard at it, and they will stop new ones developing. And what it's about is not so much like anti-aging and growing old is bad, and that's a negative thing, and it's not about that for me. It's just about going, when you see those beautiful faces, you know, the faces that you're like, oh, that face is great, I wish I had that face. That's because those people have just lived that life full of joy. And you can see it written over their face in the lines. It's born from smiling, it's born from laughing, it's born from joyousness. And the wrinkles that we tend to be like, oh, I'm not really into that one, they're from frowning, they're from worrying, they're from stress, they're from sadness. And so what we can do is we can start to look through awareness of using the muscles in our face. We can start to look at going, well, what are the pathways that I'm using that are associated with negative emotions in myself, or things that I just might not want to encourage. And then you can look at getting rid of those by just awareness of going, oh, I'm doing that thing again, I can relax that. And you can look at building those pathways that build joy, that build smiling, that build feel good, endorphins in the body, so that we can kind of just change our attitude towards those things. So it's not about having that Botox face where we have nothing and no one can move. It's the antithesis of that. It's about encouraging our faces to look lived in and to reflect who we are. So yes, we can get those benefits for sure. And the other thing is, as we exercise, obviously we increase circulation, just like we do in our body. So the circulation to the face is increased, and what that does is it stimulates collagen and elastin production. And collagen and elastin are the things that keep the skin all springy and soft and vital and bouncy. Huh?
And bouncy.
And bouncy. Bouncy is a good word, right? Yeah. So what I think when we're looking at doing those poses at home, you want to think about that. You want to think about eradicating the places that you hold tension in your body, and then you want to remember that ojas thing that we were talking about. I want to think about the juices, and it's all about that. Or you're looking at the Mediterranean diet and those oils, and they have that beautiful skin because they have so many natural oils in the diet. What we're trying to do in a climate like ours, where it's kind of damp and cold, and a lot of time we spend indoors, and then there's that heating thing that dries everything out. We want to try and increase that lubrication through our whole body, but with these mainly through our face.
So how can you increase the oils by the yoga flow?
Yeah, so I was talking a little bit about it in the beginning. No, I'm sorry. No, it's just that you
I don't know. Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
No, but we could talk about it at the end for sure.
Yes.
But ojas is just a term that we use in yoga. Ojas, O-J-A-S, and it just means juices.
Yes,
It's the things that lubricate the joints and the skin and the hair and all those lovely oils. But the more we move the joints, the more we generate it.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
Does anyone else have a question before we get on to the poses? I'm sure you just want to do the fun stuff, right? Okay, so did you grab a little piece of paper?
Is that it?
Yeah, I think maybe there's one down there.
Yes, that's it.
So for today, I just thought let's do a broad spectrum of poses, so we cover a little bit of the face, so when you go away you have some that you can do at home, and you will be actually working the whole of the face depending on where you hold your attention. So the first one is called Sukshma, and it comes from Louis Armstrong, because he used to play his trumpet, and he used to go, remember how it goes really big? So he had these super toned muscles in his cheeks. So this one tones the muscles of the cheeks, and it's a really simple one to do. It's my son's favourite one. You take a large inhale and you puff up both cheeks till they're as full as possible, so like this. And the hard thing is that as you maintain the hold, you start to lose air, and that air leaches. So it's quite a useful thing to do it in front of the mirror, so you can make sure that you keep the equal air. Because some people find that the air stays high and they lose the low air. Some people lose the high air and not the low air. Some people lose in the sides. So we're holding it here, and then we're rapidly transferring the air from one side to the other for 30 seconds. So I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll do it all together. So it's going to be like this. So the other thing about it is that when we're thinking about the awareness of our face, that the good thing about doing it in the mirror is you notice, because you don't want to be going and then building all the wrinkles in the rest of your face, right? And also you don't want to be like and then you're building the tension here. So we do want a certain amount of thinking about our posture. So obviously sometimes I'm doing it driving in the car. I'm sure my posture in the car is not perfect, but where possible we want to have space between our ears and our shoulders, just to sit up nice and tall, so that again we're allowing for that ojas to travel. Anywhere we build stagnation, it stops, right? So we're going to do 30 seconds, and we're going to repeat each one a couple of times, not just so that you get used to doing it, but so that you work those muscles a little bit more. So each one, in an ideal world, you might repeat each exercise 3 times, and it wouldn't need to be each one 3 times, then the next one 3 times. You could do one, then another, and then go back to the beginning again. Or it could be any time during the day. You just think about it. I have clients who are like, oh yeah, I just go into the toilet and work, and or different things like that. So you can do it whenever, you just find the time. So let's sit up really tall. Drop your shoulders. So take the breath in through your nose. The other thing is you can breathe through your nose, because often And then people are looking at me like, I gotta breathe. Right? So we can still breathe through our nose. And in fact, let's hopefully keep the breathing going nice and slow so that it's relaxing. Right? So big breath in through the nose. Fill up your cheeks as wide as you can. Hold it really wide, and then as quick as you can, transfer the air from one side to the other. Relax your shoulders. Are you breathing? No, 10 seconds left. Keep going, last bit, even faster, as fast as you can. And then breathe out. You feel the jaw? Right, it's surprising how fatigued your muscles get so quickly. So that's why I tend to do them. When I'm doing them myself, I would then move on to the next one and then return back as fast as you can.
What's the purpose of what?
So what we're trying to do here is just work the muscles.
Oh,
so it's
yes.
just like doing a bicep
It's a
contraction.
resistance.
Exactly.
Yes.
So some of these you would have a long static hold. Some of them we're going to do little tiny repeats, and then we might change between them. Yeah. So the next one is very similar. It's called the cheek pat, and this one is building circulation to the cheeks so that we get that lovely glow, and it's also going to tone the cheeks. So it's the same thing, we're filling our cheeks with air, but we're maintaining that hold like this. And then with the maintained hold, we're going to pat the cheeks as fast as we can, not really hard, but also not too light. You do want to be bringing the blood flow to the area, and that's what's going to increase that collagen and elastin production. Similarly, though, as we're tapping and we're trying to maintain that hold, we can easily just tap the air out. So we don't want that to happen. So we need to maintain that tautness in the cheeks throughout the exercise, right? And so that's 30 seconds again. So we'll sit up nice and tall. Remember to breathe as well. Big inhale through the nose. Fill up the cheeks. So keep the cheeks as full as you can. Relax your forehead. Relax your shoulders. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, blow out.
It's blow down first one. Where did you say you put the air?
No,
first
as
one?
through the whole cheek.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah,
first.
so it's exactly the same first and second. It's just that some people find they start, maybe they don't have as much muscle tone in the bottom, so they start to lose it there.
You did say something, yes.
Yes.
So it's not. It's
So it's not
cheek.
as far as like a hamster.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's beautiful, right?
What's the name of it? What was the first one called? The trumpet?
Satchmo.
Yeah. Sorry.
Because his nickname, Louis Armstrong's
could be
nickname
called
was
the hamster,
Satchmo.
remember?
It could be, yeah. Yeah, you find something that helps you remember, for sure.
Just coordinating the hand taps.
It's quite hard.
This way.
There's
Or this way.
Either.
This you can do either, but I find like this just feels more natural.
Yeah, rather than
It's
this.
quite relaxing, I think.
It is as well, yeah, because you're just tapping out tension as well. There's, at the end, we'll do all the little massaging moves that I was talking about from the zone therapy, and there's one you do under the chin, and it's really interesting when you switch hand sides, how your coordination, like right-handed, and I can just do it forever, and left-handed, I'm like. So it's interesting to see, and when we do cross-body coordination, it's really interesting because anything where we cross the midline helps again to build neural pathways. So that taps back into that eye exercise thing. So it's kind of fun to play around with this stuff. Anyway, so we'll go on. I just want to see if there's another. Yeah, what I'm going to do is group it into areas of the face just for today, so that we'll work out one area fully and then move on to another. So we've been doing the cheeks. We're going to move on. If you just look to your next page, you'll see one called Kiss the Sky. So this plumps the lips, so it helps to define around the lip line. It also firms up the jawline, and it helps to stretch out the neck. So with this one, you're going to tilt your head back as far as you can and look up at the sky. And you're going to blow an exaggerated kiss, just like a pout that you see people do in those selfies. And when you do that, you want to think about trying to drag the skin up from your neck, over your chin, and in towards the lips. So you should feel it the whole way there. And what you're going to do is do 10 kisses like that up to the center. And then we'll drop our head back down and let our chin hang and just take a couple of breaths to release the shoulders. And then you'll bring head up to the center, turn it to the side, and lift the chin on this side. So now you're stretching down here on this side of the face, and you're going to do 10 there. We'll bring it down, we'll rest again. bring to the center, turn to the side, lift our chin, and do 10 again then, and then we'll rest in the middle.
10 kisses.
So 10 kisses in each side. Yeah. And the more you exaggerate the kiss, the more work that's happening. Because often I find that people are kind of it's beautiful and delicate, but we're not doing a whole lot of work. And the other thing is, as we get through the 10, usually number 1, 2 and 3 start off great, and then we get towards 10 and kind of peter out. So we want to try and maintain that through that. And we want to keep our brow smooth, we want to keep our shoulders down, and we need to remember to breathe. So it's quite a lot going on, but we just want to think about just blowing air kisses is really what it is, right? So we try, and I'll guide you through it too. So sit up nice and tall, shoulders down. I always think about the heart. Well, in yoga we talk about the heart, and we kind of generally talk about the heart here. Obviously it's not here, but it's kind of over here, but we'll just pretend it's here. So lift up from the collarbones is always helpful, because that just naturally makes your shoulders drop down rather than being here. We're just opening our heart. Let the hands just drop down. Just tilt your chin up as high as you can without straining the back of the neck. And then keeping the shoulders down, you're going to do 10 exaggerated kisses up to the sky. So it doesn't have to make a sound, it can. And nice and slow and steady. Try and bring it right up from the neck through the chin. And then keep the forehead as relaxed as you can. Should be around 10 now, last one. And then drop your chin slowly towards your chest. And just take a big breath in through your nose. And a big sigh through your mouth. Bring your head back to the center. Turn your head over this way. And then lift your chin up so that you're looking up to the sky, and drop your shoulders down away. And you should feel a nice strain, a little bit of a stretch through the opposite side of your neck. And then you're going to blow the kisses in that direction up to the sky again. Relax the brow. Really exaggerate it as much as you can. Count your 10 in your head. The rest of the face stays relaxed. Shoulders stay relaxed. Try and lift your chin up as high as you can there. Brilliant. And when you've done your 10, you slowly drop your head down. Let your chin hang to your chest. Take a big inhale through the nose. And exhale. Bring your head right up to the center to look forward. Turn your head to the opposite side. Lift your chin as high as you can. Drop your shoulders and then kiss up. But try and send the kisses right up to the sky. So make them really like your Marilyn Monroe, the biggest kisses that you can get. You want to really bring that tension through the sides of the face, right up through the neck, so it becomes as big as it possibly can. And once you've done your 10, drop your head, release down, take a big inhale, big sighing exhale. Bring your head up to the center, and I'll just add in an extra one. There's another pose called the Marilyn, which I usually do after this one. Index finger and middle finger. You're making an exaggerated kiss forwards, but instead of doing lots of kisses, we're going to hold for 30 seconds, and you're going to push the kiss into your fingers and push your fingers back into the kiss, so that you're getting that equal and opposite resistance between the lips, so that everything stays forward. So we're going to hold for 30 seconds, shoulders down. Relax the brow. Breathe through your nose. Commit to making it even stronger for the last 10 seconds. So we're feeling in the jaw now. And release. And then just kind of chew with the jaw there to release. And you feel awareness of areas.
And was that for specifically that what you did? Was it for the neck and the lips, or
It's for the lips, bringing plumpness to the lips,
Yeah.
for toning the cheeks, and then also for stretching into the
Yeah.
neck. Yeah, you can feel it in the neck,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Really
And so
good.
what that does is it stops, when we get kind of crepey skin in our neck,
Yeah.
that helps to plump that out so that it just stops. If you can imagine the skin being kind of like crinkled tissue paper, it just makes it be like straight tissue paper again. Tissue paper.
You push back with the fingers.
Yeah, so
you do,
equal and opposite pressure,
Okay.
so lips pushing
Pushing
forward.
lips out and pushing
Yeah,
back
so that
with
we
the fingers.
just maintain the muscle working all the time. So what we're going to do is come back to that first one, do the first one again, second one again, third one again, fourth one again, and then we'll move on to our eyes. We're running a tiny bit over time. Are you okay to stay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we'll come back. Remember our Sukshma, so we full as we can and then transfer the air, just like you're gargling really. If you think about having your mouthwash, you're trying to swill it around your mouth from side to side. So we'll start our 30 seconds. Big inhale, shoulders down, fill up your mouth, and transfer. And as you get tired, you start to lose the coordination. So the work is to try and keep moving it. 10 seconds. And release. Well done. Some good coordination there. Everyone had very relaxed brows. I'm impressed. Usually I just see a lot of staring back at me. Like,